Well, there is a Hollywood attraction considered gruesome by some and unique by others, but almost everyone agrees it's not for the squeamish.
Yeah, KCAL9's Stephanie Simmons gives us a tour now of the Museum of Death.
I had a Marine pass out one day, fell flat on his face.
From specimens to shrunken heads, this museum isn't for the faint of heart.
Kind of mimics a funeral home.
Kathy Schultz and her husband run the Museum of Death in Hollywood. She says it's not meant to scare, but to educate, since the subject of death is so taboo.
There was no information. And I had no idea about death either. I hadn't even seen a dead body. So, like, wow, this is, and when I asked questions, there wasn't answers. So we just started delving into it.
Kathy stresses the museum isn't a gallery of gore. The walls are filled with historical moments of this somber subject.
We are in the serial killer room. That's kind of where we start in the museum.
Letters and artwork are displayed from the twisted minds of killers like John Wayne Gacy. And since many of these killers were executed, the next room depicts how.
Well, it started with drawing and quartering, but it was so messy, and the ladies were getting the gross stuff all over their dresses that they had to come up with something more cleaner and more sanitized. So that's when they invented the guillotine.
Next, an area called the California Death Room, showcasing the state's most notorious deadly incidents.
Heaven's Gate, that was the cult down in San Diego in 1997 that all thought that they were aliens, all committed suicide and were in these funny bunk beds, and they all put these purple shrouds over them.
Tragedies around Charles Manson, the Black Dahlia, and Marilyn Monroe are also included. Finally, the Tribal Room.
2 authentic shrunken heads. They're very hard to come by, prized possessions. And shrinking heads is the biggest question we get. How do you shrink a head?
We'll spare you the details, and rest assured the practice of collecting shrunken heads was made illegal in 1930. We also skip the suicide and cannibal rooms, but they are all an important part of the history of death.
To get people's attention, you need to shock them. People, when they leave, they finally do feel they've learned something, they feel happy, and people come out with smiles on their faces just because they know that life is good and precious.
In Hollywood, Stephanie Simmons, KCAL9 News.